Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin. My name is Brandon, social media manager here at Trust Machines, joined by my co-host, Kate. Happy Friday, Kate.
GM, happy Friday, Brandon.
Happy
How are we
Crypto
doing?
Week.
Yeah, I guess so.
Every week is
week
Crypto
in
Week.
DC.
That's the title of the show.
I like the title.
Yeah.
Crypto Week's a good week to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, apparently we have a lot of companies to talk about that are buying Bitcoin, that bought a lot this week. And yeah, a lot to get into this week. Lots of news. How was your week?
It was a really good week. I was actually quite focused on leather this week, which has been fun to kind of get back into. I launched our leather Instagram, so that's been a cool experience. You know, people talk about meeting people where they are, and part of that is like being on platforms where there's not a huge crypto audience, but it's also, I think, speaking to them, like speaking to people in a way that's not traditionally the way you would speak on crypto Twitter, and maybe like more formatted for a wider audience. So that's been fun to get back on Instagram. And yeah, what else do we have going on this week? Let maybe talk about Granite Creator program. That's been exciting too to kick off.
Yeah, we relaunched the Granite Creator program for July. Last month we did it for June. We did it for most of June. I think we launched it like the first few days of June or something like that. This one's just going on for a couple weeks, so it's a little bit shorter. We're launching it also on Zealy this time around. So that's where people are going, is on Zealy to submit their creations. We've had a few folks that have submitted so far, some really good stuff. We have a Grimaldo remade that submitted on couple days ago, I believe now, on account health, and
yeah, this was good.
What that number actually means. Shout out to Grimaldo and yeah, a few others, but I think that's like one of the ones that we retweeted the other day. But yeah, so far so good. We've had many people submit.
Nice. I should just plug, if you are on Instagram, give us a follow, leather.btc, and chime in.
Yeah, leather.btc. It's super interesting, like from a marketing standpoint, like you can't just like take the content that you're posting on Twitter and just like post it on Instagram and expect it to be successful, right? And we know that, but just for the audience, like it's kind of just like a totally different beast, where you're just posting, you know, it's a completely different audience, like you said, right? It's like usually people that maybe are not as crypto native, so it's much more like introductory. You're not going to do some crazy like Twitter thread style explainer on what Bitcoin is, right? It's designed to just be a little bit more just approachable and user friendly and stuff like that. So it's an interesting, different way of talking about Bitcoin and crypto to like a more general audience.
Totally. But yeah, we'll share some insights as we post more there and learn some things, because I know it's like a big thing, and working in the crypto Bitcoin industry is people are always like, how do we do video content for Instagram and TikTok and reach those audiences? So it's going to be a good experiment for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Maybe we'll see some of the clips from here on there as well. Like there's opportunities for that. I think we've also posted like some Leather Lounge stuff there as well from Sean. So yeah, leather.btc on Instagram.
I also I want to give you a shout out. You were on the Stacks Town Hall this week, and you gave a great update on all the things Leather's been doing. And yeah, just want to say good job. It was a really good listen. I'll share your clip on Instagram from there, actually.
Cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good town hall. A lot of really good updates from like pretty much everybody kind of made an appearance and talked about some of the stuff that they've been building. And for me, I was representing Leather and just gave just an update on what an important quarter. It was kind of like reflecting on like this past quarter, like the past 3 months. And for Leather, obviously, like launching mobile, launching the completely new like website where you can stack and you can have access to all the different DeFi apps and SBTC stuff. There's just so much that the Leather team has delivered and shipped over the past couple of months. So definitely wanted to give them a shout out and highlight just all the things. And also just reiterate kind of Leather's doubling down on stacks. We see a lot of other, for some it makes sense, right? Like to just, I don't know, split up your, resources into, and reach out into like other chains, for example, for like more liquidity, stuff like that. It makes sense for certain dApps, but just wanted to reinforce like Leather's not going anywhere, and it's really doubling down on stacks and trying to be like the absolute best stacks wallet possible. So yeah, it was a good time. A lot of good speakers there.
Yeah. What else we have? We had a big week for the Zealy campaign with stacks. I know that you were able to dig into Signal 21 a little bit and get some good insights. So that would be awesome if you could share some of those.
Yeah. Lots of very interesting insights. Shout out to Signal 21 and their stacks integration for helping with this. There's like tens of thousands of different users that participated in, or that have participated in Zealy so far. I think the number, what was the number that I pulled up this morning? It was like 70, I don't know, something crazy. And like over 100,000 quests claimed. It's like the amount of people that are on there is just like an insane amount. But looking into like just more specifically with like season 1, which ended about a week and a half ago, dove into how many real wallets actually, were doing on-chain things. So 611 unique wallets participated in season 1. Of those 611, 393 wallets had their first ever transactions during the campaign. So that's really awesome. So more than half of the wallets that participated were new to the ecosystem potentially. It's hard, to attribute that to like, oh, were those actual new users or just new wallets or whatever, but it's promising.
New wallets is like a good metric that we've been tracking. And that's been like a positive signal. And one thing that I've noticed is there's been some comments from people participating in this saying like, I feel much more comfortable using stacks now. Like I actually know how to engage in the protocols. And this has been like a really good experience to help me do that. So that's been super positive to see those comments come in.
Yeah, we've had a few people. We're trying to add like little bits of like where people can add feedback and stuff, like little surveys in Zealy so people can provide feedback. I think like during season 1, people were voting on like what was their favorite app that they used. I think Stacking DAO might have won season 1. So shout out to Stacking DAO. I use Stacking DAO, I love it. So yeah, it's super interesting to see that. Yeah, almost 400 new wallets during the campaign. Of those wallets, about a 30 transaction average per wallet. And then in total, over 17,000 on-chain transactions of those wallets. Yeah, that's 17,000 transactions that would not have happened if this campaign was not going on. So
yep,
pretty cool stuff.
Love it.
Lots of public company news to talk about. I'll pull up Bitcoin treasuries and maybe you can talk about the first one or two while I'm doing that.
Absolutely. I just thought it'd be good to mention, just to kind of like, take a step back and see how far we've come. If you zoom out to January 2020, institutions held around 260,000 Bitcoin collectively. But right now, public companies are holding over 3.5 million Bitcoin. So that's a 13x increase in just 5 years. And so each week, as we're mentioning all of the companies, governments, Wall Street players that are getting into Bitcoin, I just thought it'd be good to share these numbers and really highlight the insane shift that's been happening and just how far we've come. So I thought that was a pretty interesting number to think about. But I guess with that, we can look into who bought Bitcoin this week. So I can kick us off with the first one. We have Strategy, who's acquired another 4,225 Bitcoin. That brings their total holdings to now 601,550, or 2.86% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Or I guess Bitcoin that will ever exist. Yeah. It's just bananas.
So much Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, MetaPlanet also bought an additional 797 BTC this week.
Pretty cool.
I don't know the total amount. It's probably on here that I'm sharing right now. MetaPlanet, 16,352 BTC.
Nice. Then we have Semler Scientific. They added another $25 million in Bitcoin. I'm actually not sure what the BTC equivalent of that is, but it brings their total holdings to nearly 5,000. And it's interesting because their stock is down 22% this year, even though they've adopted this Bitcoin treasury strategy. So that's like been an interesting.
That is super interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't brought it up on the show yet. I wanted to talk about it a couple weeks ago, I think, but we didn't have time to mention it. Pomp shared this graph that was comparing all these different like Bitcoin treasury companies, and it was looking at sort of their performance to NAV, like based on how much Bitcoin they have relative to like their stock performance. And like, you know, when their stock should also in theory go up the same amount, right? Because it's relative to how much like Bitcoin they have. But that's not always the case. And certain companies, just for whatever reason, like perform better than others. And that's like a potentially, you know, an arbitrage like opportunity, right? If like there's one of these companies is like not rising faster than like, you know, the price of Bitcoin, that's potentially, you know, an opportunity, and they may like rise more in the future or something as they like come up to parity with like, you know, the Bitcoin dollar amount that they like rose or whatever. So
yeah, good to know.
Interesting. Yeah, you take the next one.
Okay. So we have
this is yours.
Matador Technologies. They're a publicly traded Canadian Bitcoin solutions firm. They're planning to ramp up their Bitcoin purchases. Their goal is to acquire 6,000 BTC by 2027. They're currently sitting on 77.4, so they have a long way to go, but they're quite bullish.
It's crazy that strategy acquires like that much in like a week.
I know.
Yeah, Smarter Web Company purchased 325 BTC. They now hold 1,600 BTC total.
And we have LWQD. They've acquired.
I think it's liquid is like how you pronounce it, but it's like spelled out. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
57.5 Bitcoin, and they now hold 238 in total.
Thumbs Up Media, we've talked about them before, gets approval for $250 million Bitcoin treasury. Some more Bitcoin buys on the way in the future.
Nice. And then you have in here Grayscale files confidentially for an IPO.
Yeah. So, Grayscale, you know, before we had ETFs, right, we pretty much just had a Grayscale, and they were, you know, they converted several of their funds over to ETFs when that became a thing. But the company itself was a private company. Looks like they're looking to go public. So that's also very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that as that continues.
Love it. All right. Well, we'll have to check in next week to see who bought more Bitcoin and if there's any newbies.
Yeah.
But this week was a good week because Bitcoin hit an all-time high. I know that we've talked about this before. It's not even really that exciting anymore. I mean, it's still exciting, but it's just like, okay, cool. There's been data showing that it hit 123,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. And that was up from 108,000 only a week ago. And this now puts Bitcoin as the 5th largest asset in the world. It's surpassed Amazon. And it's getting up there with Apple, Microsoft, soon Nvidia. We have a long ways to go until we hit gold, but yeah, we're dreamers here.
I just pulled up the chart. This is real time, so it's some things have shifted around a little bit.
Oh.
So Bitcoin's above Google, it's above silver, no longer above Amazon. It's gone down
Prime
like a
day.
couple thousand. It's crashed to $117,000 per coin. So yeah, Prime Day. Just got that. So yeah, this is an interesting website. It's 8marketcap.com. That compares these like asset market caps.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, long time to go with gold. The gold one is interesting because like gold is also, you know, going up in price, obviously, right?
Yeah.
With inflation. So like for Bitcoin to surpass gold, that doesn't just mean that Bitcoin needs to, you know, X from here to meet, that $22 trillion market cap. It's probably like more than that. And still a lot of people believe that Bitcoin will
We'll get
eventually flip gold.
Yep.
I think we are also those people.
We are in that camp. I saw this tweet and I thought it was a really good one. This is from the Bitwise CIO. His tweet says, the Bitcoin network produces about 450 new Bitcoin per day. And yesterday, which was last week, ETFs bought 10,000. And so we've talked about it before. It's like what happens when there's more buyers than sellers. Obviously, the price goes up. And we've just seen a lot of activity of, more public companies buying. ETFs had a huge inflow. And I'm sure this is, it all plays into the price.
Totally. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense why the price has been going up over the past couple of weeks. Just so much buying pressure. So many people are buying Bitcoin. We also surpassed over 100 million total inscriptions, I think, in this past week. So that is a lot of ordinals out there.
A lot of transaction fees, too.
Totally. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. This next one that I saw was pretty interesting. So in 2018, Bulgaria, the country, sold 213,000 Bitcoin, which would now be worth $25 billion. And it would have been enough to wipe out their public debt if they had have just held.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just a lesson as to why you don't bet against Bitcoin. But I'll follow it up with, I love these like Bitcoin whale alerts. There was a Bitcoin whale, I think from probably holding since 2011, sold 80,000 Bitcoin for $9.6 billion. So he is having a good week.
I'm in hands. Wow. I feel like there's been a few of these over the past like week or two with like these big moves. And then every time that there's like one of these large moves, people are like, oh, is it Satoshi?
Yeah.
Like waking up and moving their coins. And I think we've talked about it on the show. There's like these, I think they're called like Patoshi patterns. And I think it's because whatever computer that Satoshi was using, something about how like when the transactions were signed or like the hashes were generated or something, they weren't like fully, truly like random. So people have been able to decipher, well, this was probably signed by Satoshi because it follows this pattern of transaction signing. And that's how people were able to like distinguish that it might be Satoshi or not. And every time that there's a news story like this, people like look and try to compare it to like the Patoshi pattern and realize that it's probably not Satoshi, but still like an early whale or something. Well, obviously it's an early whale, but just not Satoshi. Of course, we have to talk about SIP 31 passing with stacks over 97% in favor of that. Didn't get a chance this week just because we've been so busy to like really dig into a lot of the results there. But I think next week we'll have to spend a little bit more time talking about that. But that's huge. It's going to change just a lot in the ecosystem. Just when you think about even like some of the stuff that we're doing, both of us are like contributing to this like big Zealy campaign that's happening on Stacks. And, there's a lot of money that's being, funded for that, right? There's 50,000 stacks that's being allocated to give away during that campaign. And that's without like a crazy amount of funding, right? So I just think we're going to see a lot more just opportunities for, communities to get funding for, just a lot more bootstrapping activity.
Yeah.
As a result of this. So much to look forward to with this passing. And now I think is when, there's a lot of work to do kind of between, now and maybe the next month or two to actually, now that it's passed, actually get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Start executing.
And get some of the stuff. Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to see. Yeah. It's nice to see that there was such in favor though, like 97%. It's pretty clear. A lot of people are on board. I think it just brings like a really good momentum. It'd be tough if this was like a 51-49 kind of vote. That would, I think, sit a little heavy. So I think that this is like a very exciting change and a lot of momentum that's about to unleash onto the Stacks eco. So.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it, I think, next week once we've all kind of digested the results a little bit better.
Exactly.
But big news, worth celebrating.
Yeah. I can get into this next one. There was a FOIA request for the US government to publish their Bitcoin holdings. So back in March, there was a journalist who did a FOIA request to the US Marshal Service asking how much Bitcoin does the USMS hold. They published their answer and it only listed 28,988 Bitcoin. So this is a lot less than was expected. You know, a lot of public estimates are suggesting that the US government holds around 200,000 Bitcoin, I think. So this is a huge gap. You know, obviously people are looking into this saying there's not really any evidence that there was any Bitcoin sold off. And there's been a few key details. You and I have kind of talked about this, but the FOIA only covered Bitcoin that was forfeited. So this is like legally owned by the government. And so a lot of seized Bitcoin, like from Bitfinex or Silk Road, that's probably still under legal proceedings, might be held by other agencies, so it wouldn't be included in the FOIA, like in the US Marshal Services holdings. So that's maybe what's happening here. Otherwise, something is happening.
Yeah. I feel like it's, directionally, it's probably not like 28,000 BTC is probably, like not exhaustive of actually how much the US has. I forget who promised it. I can't remember if it was like Trump directly or if it was like one of his staff a few months ago mentioned that they were going to be doing like a full audit, which should give us like a more, exact number, obviously. So I think, it's interesting, but I wouldn't be too concerned yet about the huge discrepancy between 28,000 and 200,000.
Yeah.
But that is a big difference.
It makes for some rage bait headlines, that's for sure.
Yeah. Another big news. We have another huge SPAC, another huge Bitcoin treasury SPAC getting into the mix. Another one with Cantor Fitzgerald. Yeah. You want to talk about that one?
Sure. So Brandon Lutnick, he's the son of the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. He's working on a $4 billion deal to buy Bitcoin with Adam Back. So Adam is longtime Bitcoiner, huge name in Bitcoin, founder of Blockstream. And I think the way it's working is he wants to contribute 30,000 Bitcoin in exchange for shares in this entity, which would be renamed BSTR Holdings, Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company.
Yeah, the Bitcoin Standard, right? Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company is like what they want to, call it. Yeah, it seems like it was like 30,021 BTC is going to be what's on its balance sheet. If that does go through, it'll make it the fourth largest public Bitcoin treasury company. And this one will be a SPAC with Cantor Equity Partners I Inc. It's currently trading under the ticker CEPO, but it expects to rename to BSTR after the merger. And Adam Back was the first person to receive like an email from Satoshi, I think, because Satoshi was trying to cite Adam Back. Adam Back was cited in the Bitcoin white paper, early cryptographer, definitely an OG. I actually saw him in Vegas. I didn't say hi to him, but
really?
I walked past him. He was talking to somebody.
Oh, that's cool.
And I didn't want to like butt in, but super, super, super Bitcoin OG.
That's so cool. It's funny. I bet like those early cryptographers never thought that they'd be like famous on some level.
I think there was so I live in the Bay Area and Stanford University has a cryptography like department.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a while they were actually like annoyed at the fact that like crypto no longer was talking about, cryptography. It was like referring to like this new like cryptocurrency thing.
Yeah.
And they were like annoyed at the fact that like the meaning of crypto had changed.
Yeah.
I don't know how they feel about it now, but I remember that being a thing back in the day.
That's funny. Anyway, this will be a crazy one if it goes through. They would be one of the most aggressive institutional buyers in the industry. I don't know if they'd be up there with Saylor, but definitely, they'd be up there with him.
Yeah, 30,000. That's a lot of Bitcoin. I have to pull up the Bitcoin treasury thing again to see where would that, well, I guess it would put them in fourth, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it said. Based on bitcointreasuries.net, 30,000, would put them in fourth. It would put them behind MicroStrategy, behind Mara Holdings, and behind 21.
Okay.
21 has 37,000.
Okay.
And then it would put them above Riot, which has, and Metaplanet and more. So, yeah. That's where they would be.
The bottom, like the half of the treasury, like the companies with Bitcoin in their treasury should just form like a bigger holding company and then compete against Strategy.
It's the only way that they're going to compete with MicroStrategy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm actually surprised. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Surprised we haven't really seen like too many of that or too much of that yet.
Well, I'm sure someone's
Everyone's
cooking.
just trying to do it. Yeah, their own thing.
Well, we have some good news for anyone looking for a mortgage and owns Bitcoin.
So just follow up from a few weeks ago. We talked about this proposal, but a new bill was just introduced to consider, and it quotes, any amounts a borrower has in any brokerage account associated with a cryptocurrency exchange, unquote, which sort of clears up kind of the self-custody questions that we talked about earlier. I'm not sure, when they mention cryptocurrency exchange, does that include somebody like a Coinbase?
Yeah.
Or, is that only like Fidelity or, those other institutions that can like custody your Bitcoin for you? So TBD, but just a little bit of additional news there on the mortgage side.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of us have heard about US Crypto Week happening in DC. So there was 3 main bills on the table, and all 3 of them have passed the House. So this includes the Genius Act, which is all of the stablecoin regulation, the Clarity Act, which is really giving the crypto market more structure, and then there was the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act. And so this is saying that the Fed cannot create any type of digital money tied to the US dollar that's issued directly by the Fed Reserve. So all 3 passed the House. I think only the Genius passed the Senate. So it's going to the Oval Office for signature by Trump. And Clarity and CBDC still need to pass the Senate before they go any further. Collectively, these bills mark a huge turning point, obviously, in crypto legislation. They're really giving clear rules, stronger protections for self-custody, and peer-to-peer transactions, which I think is probably the biggest win for a lot of us, is seeing very clear wording and structure in the Clarity Act. But I've seen some takes about concerns of the Stablecoin Act. Basically, I guess from a Bitcoin maxi perspective, the idea is that instead of the Fed issuing CBDCs, it's now private companies that are very much tied or might be controlled by the government. So I think that is sort of a lot of the concern that has been coming out. But I mean, overall, it's still a huge win for the crypto industry as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's with stablecoins are not fully decentralized, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the stablecoin issuers, they, for one, they have the underlying, T-bills or whatever cash, US dollar equivalent. They have custody of that. So they have the ability to seize funds on the blockchain, of whatever, currency that they are controlling. We'll use USDC as an example, right? Or we can use Tether as an example. Tether seizes or pauses USDT on chain quite often, actually. Most of these companies are pretty responsive to legal enforcement whenever funds need to be seized, and they're also pseudonymous, right? They're not fully, you can't necessarily see exactly who is owning these coins, but you can track it on chain. I guess it's not a privacy coin like a Monero or something like that. So yeah, I get it, I guess, but that's just, I think, I don't know, FUD against stablecoins in general.
Totally.
It's not this act introduces that stuff.
Yes.
Right. It's just kind of protecting, holders a little bit more and requiring things like audits and just giving a little bit more clarity on, what jurisdictions, these belong in and stuff like that. Yeah. By the time that whoever is listening to this in podcast form is listening to this, it's might have already been signed. It's supposed to be planned for this afternoon for Trump to sign it. So it should be happening probably within the next couple hours, or maybe it's already happened and we haven't checked the news yet.
Yeah, true.
But that's Genius Act is going to be signed, so that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, it's really, if you look at the last 15 years, Bitcoin has always been so grassroots, bottom up, and it's just in the last 6 months, not even a year, it's just very much coming from the top now, which is, I mean, it's cool, right? To be validated and see that so many people are also valuing what Bitcoin, crypto can bring to a financial system. But yeah, it's just it comes at you quick.
Yeah, totally. Another thing I saw yesterday, press secretary was answering some questions and she was asked about the $600 de minimis tax exemption for Bitcoin and crypto purchases. Basically, like, so you can buy coffee. Like she literally said, like, so you can buy coffee and not get taxed on it. She reiterated that the Trump administration is in support of that and they'd explore legislation to support it. So doesn't, there's nothing in these bills, that talks about that, but like that's still potentially on the table in the future, which is, for me, pretty exciting.
Yeah. Gift cards are about to go burr.
100%. Yeah.
That's funny. I thought it'd be cool to touch a little bit on this. Coinbase has like really been cooking. They've been shipping like they're a startup. It's pretty cool to see. They rebranded Coinbase Wallet to Base App, which is basically just this huge platform that involves social features, crypto trading, payments, mini apps, all into one platform. So they have Base Chain, which claims to be 10 times faster with 200 millisecond block times, which is quite quick. Then they have Base Build, which is tools for developers to build with. Then they have Base App, which was Coinbase Wallet, and this is now a social platform where every post is a coin that people can buy. So it's really like promoting creators with it. Then they have Base Account, which is a universal login for the open internet. And then Base Pay, which is an express checkout for USDC. And they're launching this with Shopify to offer crypto payments to millions of merchants, 1% cash back. So yeah, it's just really evolving to be this complete stack for social commerce apps. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It's something definitely to watch and maybe take some lessons learned from for sure.
Yeah, they're doing so much. I think they also had new all-time high in their stock this week. And we talked a few weeks ago too about, especially with this bill passing, how much it benefits USDC. And Coinbase and Circle both kind of jointly launched USDC. So Coinbase actually continues to receive 50% of the interest revenue from USDC. Yeah, Coinbase is just winning. That's the
That's the takeaway.
Yeah, that's the takeaway. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the week. Yeah, next week we'll have to talk a little bit more about SIP31, what it means. I wanted to shout out Hero Gamer. He sent this bit proposal from Jameson Lopp my way for Bitcoin quantum resistance. Didn't get a chance to get into that this week, but we'll talk about that next week. But I wanted to thank Hero Gamer for sending that over to me. Super interesting. And it's going to be a big week next week in Zealy and just with all the different things going on.
Everything.
Even today, I feel like I'm just like scrambling a little bit with like everything. Thank you for leading more of the show this week.
You've been crushing it with like doing all of the Zealy and the APIs, and it's a huge undertaking, and you've really carried the team on your back. So it's shout out to you. Yeah, it's like you're designing a game really, which is pretty cool with all of the Zealy quests and how they unlock and link to each other. It's not easy. So congrats.
Thank you. Go follow Kate on Instagram, leather.btc. And we will see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in. And sorry for the brief interruption where our internet died. We'll fix that in post.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
Y'all. Thank you for listening. We record Good for Bitcoin live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on X. Please follow us at Trust Machines Co. if you would like to listen and engage with us live. Visit us at trustmachines.co for all the latest Bitcoin news. We'll see you next week.